Alright, welcome back to the Limited Lowdown. We're going to be drafting today very soon, but I got some feedback on one of my videos, and I figured it was a good feedback, and I figured I should probably introduce myself so that you know who you are, who I am, and why you should care. So, I've been drafting for 5 years now, thereabouts. I started Magic, about 5 years ago. Been drafting ever since, really. Got introduced to, it was the dual decks originally. Played that for a little while, fell in love with the game. Then my friend had some commander decks, we played with those, and that's when I got my first insight into deck building, and I started playing around with commander decks and improving them and tuning them. And while I had been learning all about Magic, I had heard of this thing called draft. And I initially it seemed quite daunting, I didn't know much about it. But eventually I started researching it, and it sounded very interesting because I not only did I focus on gameplay, but it focused on the deck building aspect, which I found appealing. And so once I started with draft, that was it. I fell in love immediately. It was the only way I wanted to play Magic. Like, I would play a commander with my friends on occasion. I play just random decks, but to me it wasn't real Magic. Like, draft was real Magic to me. I loved every aspect of it. And so I've been playing for, like I said, about 5 years. And I'm not a professional player by any means. But I would consider myself to be a good player at this stage, perhaps even a very good player. And what I'm doing, what these videos are, is me trying to become a great player. I have quite an extensive knowledge of draft theory and Magic theory, and I've been listening to podcasts, reading articles pretty voraciously for 5 years. A few hiatuses here and there. But so this video is just me. These series of videos is just me trying to improve my drafting game, but also trying to make content for people who might want to see that, and I specifically see someone who's pushing for that, pushing to go up that next level and go from being good / very good to great. So I'm not a pro Magic player by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm not a novice by any stretch of the imagination, and so it's a focus on draft and good picks. Good deck strategies. And another piece of feedback that I got was that I don't talk through my decisions as much as I should when it comes to both cards and gameplay. So the effort today is going to be to make sure I talk through those decisions a lot more, make it clear why I'm making those decisions, what my reasoning is. I don't imagine I'll be perfect at it straight away, but I do anticipate being better now that I'm more aware of it. Like, what else? Now, as you'll see, this account's on silver, my other two accounts are on gold, I think. The way it works for me is I have 3 accounts so that I can play infinitely. The idea being that with my win rate, because my Wilds of Eldraine win rate is about almost 70%. My win rate for Lord of the Rings was about 63%. And so with that kind of win rate across 3 accounts, I never have to put a penny into the game, and I've always been like that. I don't know why. I've always been like trying not to spend money on games where I can. I think it's more, I like to be self-sufficient, right? I like to think that my play is good enough across the 3 accounts to allow me to play infinitely. Now, what that does mean is, because obviously I work a full-time job, as most people do, I don't get to play as much draft as I'd like, especially because I don't like to draft if I'm really tired. So if I've just gotten up or I've just come home from work, I don't really like drafting. So it ends up, sometimes I only play 3 drafts a week across 3 accounts, which is why even though I win a lot, my rank never seems to go too high. It always seems to bottom out at platinum because I never focus on one account. I just keep switching them over, getting the daily quests, getting the gold. So that might be something in the future I look to do, where I try to focus on one account. Then push up the ranks. I've been in Mythic before. I did do the push for Mythic before. That was during Ikoria with the cycling deck. I actually didn't play the cycling deck very often. I was often blue-green in that format, if I remember correctly. And I was also I like blue base and green base in that format. But yeah, so I've been in Mythic before. I am a quality player, but I do probably need to push out of these ranks at some point. So we'll see. And so now I'm going to try and be more vocal about everything I'm doing. Also, I do use 17 lands, especially at the start of a format, to check win rates of cards, just as another data point. So I'm normally looking at cards. I've done, I looked at the cards before the set, or before the set released. I've followed set reviews, and I keep an eye just on different platforms as to what is good and what isn't. And then I then use at the start of the format specifically. I then use 17 lands to help me just understand cards better. So here in this pack, I found Regal Bunnycorn to be very good. It's not difficult to get multiple permanents, and in fact this set kind of focuses on that. So it can be a 2-mana 2/2 with very little issue, and then later in the game it can be gigantic. So that's one of the cards I'm looking at straight away. Phyrexian Unlife I don't know much about, and for the sake of brevity, I'm just going to put it aside, knowing that for the most part those cards are not particularly good from the Enchanting Tales book. Now, the Witch's Vanity is another excellent play on turn 2. Being able to get in a creature, create a roll and a food, a lot of value. And Edgewall In is another excellent card because of the ability to go in any deck and have fixture mana. Now, I'm going to start with Regal Bunnycorn because I think it's good enough. So that. I think it's slightly better than what would you call it? I think it's slightly better than the Witch's Vanity. So this is a point where that's a decision I'm not 100% sure on. So I'm going to check very quickly and see which is better. So we know that Regal Bunnycorn is almost a 60% win rate, and the Witch's Vanity is 59.2. There's a 0.6% difference. So my instincts were they were very close, and I was right. And my instincts were that Regal Bunnycorn is slightly better, and I was right about that as well. Now, we're looking at the big flashy mythic. I see it's 8 mana. I don't necessarily know that there's a white deck that wants to do that. But other than that, we're looking at Archon's Glory, Edgewall Pack, and Raid. But no, sorry, and Twisted Sewage. So, what does this do? When there's a battlefield, creature you control gain flying and get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. Now, I don't believe this is actually the best card. I really don't. 8 mana is a huge amount of mana, but I'm interested to try it out. And I'm going to see, out of interest, where it is. I bet you it's not even high. I bet you it's really low. Moonsugar Cavalry is 51.2%. But I want to play with it, so I'm going for it. I don't care. Now, let's have a look here. So we've cut in extraordinarily strong card in red. It's 4 mana, kill pretty much anything. And you get a Young Hero Roll token. Then you also have Witch's Mark, which is Tormenting Voice, but better because, again, you get a roll token. So 2 very good red cards, and another excellent black card. Ariad's Tempting Apple is also good in aggressive strategies. So we could consider taking that. And then Unassuming Sage I found to be good in a deck that cares about rolls, green white enchantments. Now, we know that Witch's Vanity is 59.2. I'm just interested to see if Cut In is higher. It isn't, and I didn't think it would be. So the beautiful thing about Witch's Vanity is it's an early play that if you're on the draw, it's just excellent because you destroy their 2-drop, right? And that really is very important in this format. And that's why I'm going to pick the Witch's Vanity here. Because I think it's better enough. And of course, a black-white deck is probably the closest we have to being able to cast Moonshaker Cavalry. Now, because it's an attrition-based deck, we can get some card draw, things like that, and maybe we can cast it. It's also, there's no point getting married to it, because I don't know if I'm even going to play it, but I wanted to see if I can make a deck where it works. So here, Obyra's Attendant, or Agatha's Champion, is a 4/4 that fights if you can bargain. So it's a 4/4 for 5, and you can kill a creature. It's a brilliant card. I do believe that both Candy Grapple and Hopeless Nightmare are better. Because Candy Grapple, 2 mana, kill pretty much anything, if you can bargain it, of course. And Hopeless Nightmare gives you a card to work with, and it discards a card from the opponent. And you get 2 life, so it does an awful lot for 1 mana, and it feeds into everything that these decks want to be doing, giving you bargain fodder, limiting your opponent's resources, and chipping away at your opponent's health. So it sort of does 3 things, and that makes it exceptionally good. Now, this is my favorite white common, and I'm sure it's everyone's favorite white common. So it's essentially a 2 mana 2/2 that gives you an enchantment for free. So it combos very well with Regal Bunnycorn, because it's just 2 mana, you get 2 things. That's excellent. There's also Sacrifice Fodder. sacrifice option on it to scry 2, or you can just bargain it. So I'm going to take Hopeful Vigil, as it helps me round out a really nice low curve in black-white. With an 8 drop there. Probably almost certainly not going to play that 8 drop, but we'll see. Now, here we have a lot of middle of the road cards. Twisted Fealty, excellent in aggressive red strategy. Gnawing Crescendo, excellent in aggressive red strategy, is specifically one that goes wide. There's Hollow Scavenger, which is an all-around good green card that lets you bargain. Gives you a free token to bargain. Works really well with the 1-drop Sorcery. Ferocious Werefox is also another card that I would be interested in, because adventure cards are just good. They're a card advantage. But I think here, Prophetic Prism might be the correct choice to keep us in white and black. I don't think there's a huge amount of difference between the two. So I'm going to pass that, and we'll see what happens. Now, we're getting past a lot of interesting cards, because we did see an Agatha's Champion, and now there's a Hamlet Glutton, best green common. But there's also a Red Cap Thief, a solid red common. Again, just gives you 2 permanents to work with. And there's a Rat Out, which is another good black card. And Rat Out 7th should be a signal, because people should be taking it higher than that, in my opinion. But I'm not convinced it is a signal. Now, protective permanents I have found to be poor. There's a massive difference between a death trigger and an end of the battlefield trigger, and that's what makes protective permanents bad. Now, Hamlet Glutton is better than Rat Out, I think. But I want to stick with my Candy Grapple and my Witch's Vanity. So. Now, here there's nothing particularly strong. The tap deck doesn't work. Break the Spell is just not... It doesn't have enough good targets, and using it on your own stuff that you're trying to get off the board is clunky. We've already talked about Protective Parents. I am fine with Verdant Outrider as a 3-drop. But here I'm going to take Twisted Fealty. Perhaps we end up in red-white. So we've come back to our original pack. Harried Spear Guard is almost certainly the best card in this pack, because it does what red wants to do, which is be aggressive, and it dies into another creature. So it's just difficult to deal with. Misleading Motes is fine in any blue deck, but we haven't seen much in the way of blue. I'm going to take the Harried Spear Guard, because that's what red wants to do. But Merry Bards is also a fine curve filler. Now, that's a very strong blue card to see 10th pick, but that's a symptom of blue being weak. Now, a second Harried Spear Guard, a Hope of Vigil, a Regal Bunnycorn. No, there's a possibility that we're an aggressive red-white deck. I will take the Spear Guard here, but I think between it and the Red Cap Thief is quite close, and different decks want different amounts. Now, a Ginger Brute, 11th pick. Also an area that's tempting Apple. This is a difficult decision. So I'm going to pick the card that could go into any deck, and it's probably going to be the Apple, actually. I don't see myself playing blue. It's very unlikely. And so I will probably take the Gallon Pie Wielder, because it's a fine card in the Celebration deck. And I will take Unruly Catapult here. So we start Gnawing Crescendo. Okay, so we're seeing some red cards go late. Now, black is cut. Black looks cut to me. So we need to make a decision very quickly as to what we're doing here. So there are a lot of cards for us to consider here. Edgewall In is one card. Hopeful Vigil is another one. Cut In is another one. Flick a Coin, Witch's Mark, and even Raging Battle Mouse. But I actually believe that the Vigil or the Cut In is probably better than the Raging Battle Mouse. Now, out of interest, I'm going to see the difference between Cut In and Hopeful Vigil. So Cut In is 58.4 and Hopeful Vigil is 57.9. Interesting. And we have, if we're not in black, we don't have any removal. So we need to think carefully here about whether we're going to take the red removal spell or the Hopeful Vigil. I am going to take the red removal spell because we seem to be getting past a lot of red. So some more interesting hatching plans. So maybe if we went blue, we'd have been very happy with that. Now, Shrouded Shepherd's a nice option in white, and it leaves us, we might have the ability to splash as well. So we'll have a look. Shrouded Shepherd is 57.5. What about Shielded Pollen here? That's a card I haven't had much chance to play with. I imagine it's not as strong. Or Pollen Shield here, sorry. So I think Shrouded Hepherd is the pick here, but because it's a good creature at 2 with a nice ability, but you can also cast that X1 hit. So that's what I'm going to go for, but I'm also interested in stockpiling Celebrant, though we don't have that many things to reuse with it. We have the Hopeful Vigil so far. Yeah. So we've got a very solid green card in Welcome to Sweet Tooth, another very solid green card in Hamlet Glutton, but we passed a lot of green, we didn't see that much. Dutiful Griffin I'm not overly impressed with. So we're going to cut it down to the Spell Scorn Coven, Welcome to Sweet Tooth, and then probably Hamlet Glutton. Return Triumphant is good, but not a card I want to be picking third. Now, Spell Scorn Coven, even if you can't cast the Adventure side, it's still very solid. It's a 4 mana, 2/3 flyer that makes your opponent discard a card. Strong. And that is the card I will almost certainly pick. I've never been interested in Skewer Slinger. I don't know that that's what aggressive red decks want to do. So we'll pass that for now. Now, I think another cut-in is sensible, but we need to start deciding what color we're playing here. You know, so we're starting to get in a little bit of trouble now. I don't believe we can go past the cut-in really. 2 of those, they don't necessarily get worse than multiples. So they don't. But then the Shrouded Shepherd keeps us on our main color, which is white at the moment. So we have 4 good black cards. And then we have like 2 good red cards, realistically. So I think we will take the Shepherd, actually. I've talked myself into it. So that was a decision between which color we want to be playing, really. And it was close, because we have more red than we have black. But our red cards are much more aggressive. And I don't necessarily know that we're following that up. Although the apple helps us with that. So I think that was a close one. And you could easily take cut in there. Now here, Cooped Up is just cheap, efficient removal. And leaving a body behind isn't as relevant this set as it is in other sets, like leaving a body for sack fodder. Now there's nothing here on black that I particularly want. And I do like Dragon Mantle if you're doing the Celebration deck, but we aren't really, you know. So it's possible we just are splashing a cut-in and the blue side of Spell Scorn Coven. It's possible that's what we're doing. So I will take Return Triumphant here. Now, some good green cards in the pack. So green could have been a colour we could have considered. Yeah, another Howling Galefang is another colour we could have considered. Having seen, now pick 7 cut-in. Strange. People are underrating this card, it would seem. And a Hopeful Vigil pick 8. So we know white is open. White is the colour that we want to be in. So that's excellent. So now, again, we're competing between black and red still, and Flick a Coin is sort of excellent in any red deck because it kills a lot of the X ones, and lets you draw a card and gives you a treasure token, so you get a mana rebate on that. If you can hit an X1, which isn't always, then it's an exceptionally strong card. We could consider splashing Greta, and I was considering splashing Greta momentarily, but I think giving how undecided we are on our colors currently, I don't want to add another color to the mix and start messing things up. So Celebrant there over basically nothing, and a second copy of Return Triumphant. So yeah, like I said, white, we can tell that white was the open color. We have an Archon's Glory here, a very nice trick. The bargain aspect is very good. You do want that +2/+2 in lifelink. Sorry, the flying in lifelink if you can. And then leaving Ambush in green. And 2 Unruly Catapults. Now. So that's usually what I like to look for, is a card that really pulls me in a certain color. How good is Ashok? I would think it's very good. So I just want to check her win rate. So her win rate is 61.2. So I think at this point, we can contentedly say we're going to go black, and we may consider splashing some cut-ins. We'll see. We do have a Prophetic Prism, so that's nice. So we'll take Ashiok here. Yeah, so it's basically the old Planeswalker format of, you know, a plus ability that's useful, a minus that protects you, and then an ultimate that's very difficult to deal with. So, we're going to assume now that we are playing black. White. We've got a good 5-drop, we've got a good 4-drop. We're low on 3s, we've got a lot of good 2s here. Very strong there. So we want to pick up more 3s. And we're not looking particularly aggressive. So a very solid 2-drop there that obviously you can't play on turn 2. But it can grow to be quite a large size. So that's another sort of mini Regal Bunnycorn. So we have an option to grab a Stockpiling Celebrant or Feed the Cauldron. Believer on the Ball will also be nice and red, no doubt. But I think Ashiok should pull us into black far enough. So the question is, do we want a Stockpiling Celebrant and what can we reuse with it? We can reset Ashiok. We can reuse Ariette's Tempting Apple. We have 2 Vigils to reuse. We can reuse our Shrouded Shepherds. We can reuse our Witch's Vanity. And if we're splashing Cut-In, we might need Feed the Cauldron so much. So I'm going to take the 3-drop here. Also because I know we're low on 3s as well. Now, Borrow Naughty here is very interesting. I like it as a card. But I do think Radite's better, and we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 good 2s. So there's an argument to just take the Radite here. We're not set up to splash too well, so I'm not interested in looking at Frolic and Familiar or anything like that. So I think we will take the second copy, or the copy of Borrow Naughty, but it's close. And there's another cut-in. So it's possible at this point we want to be taking a Crystal Grotto to help us splash our 2 cut-ins that we currently have. Which I think is what I'll do. Now at this point I don't want a second Borrow Naughty, I don't think. But I also don't want an Ariette's Whisper. So I'm going to take a Borrow Naughty here. Another Shrouded Shepherd, excellent. So we've got a lot going on here. Playing black as a main colour really does help us cast those 3 adventures off the Shrouded Shepherd. And then 1 Prophetic Prism and 1 Crystal Grotto helps us cast both of our cut-ins and our the second part of our spell score and covering. Now we've got an Edgewall pack here. We certainly do not need an Armory Mace, so we'll not bother with that. I'll take another one of those. A second copy of Radite came back. And a second copy of Archon's Glory came back. All right. And the Ariette's Whisper. So I do think the Moonshaker Cavalry is a long, long way off. I don't anticipate we're going to play it, but perhaps we will. For power reasons. So I'd be content to play 2 cut-ins of 1 Crystal Grotto, 1 Mountain, and 1 Prophetic Prism. And that leaves us with 15 lands. Mostly white, I should think, here, yeah. So we'll play 8 plains, 7 forest, 1 mountain, 1 Crystal Grotto. So that leaves us with 9, 8, essentially, and then a Prophetic Prism. Now, should we play a Moonshaker Cavalry? I don't necessarily think so, but this deck isn't so strong that we can look away from playing that. But I think most games are just never going to see it. It's too much. So let's take the deck apart now. And decide exactly how we're going to play this. So we know we want our Hopeful Vigils and we want our Regal Bunnycorn. So that's an excellent early curve, along with 3 Shrouded Shepherds. Brilliant. So we've got 7 strong 2-drops. So we're looking pretty aggressive here. So there's a possibility that we might just want to go red, but I think Ashiok's probably strong enough. Ashiok's definitely strong enough that we shouldn't. And we're not giving up that much because we get to keep the Witch's Vanity in. We get to keep Candy Grapple in. We get to play at least 1 copy of Radite. I will play the Spellsworn Coven. I'll play the Somniphage. Play Ashiok. So we're already very creature heavy. So we've got technically 1 plus 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then this is technically creatures because you can minus, that's 11 already. So play the Cooped Up as well. Now I think a Return Triumphant is not necessarily good in our deck. Because a lot of our 2-drops are enchantments. But the Celebrants we will definitely take. Allow us to bounce the Hopeful Vigils. That combo on its own is enough. That combo on its own is enough. And I think a Gallon Pie Wielder might just help us round out our 2-drop slot. So we'll have the Tempting Apple here to help us be quite aggressive. We'll play the Prophetic Prism to help us splash. We'll throw in 2 cut-ins. And then we have room for 3 more cards. Now, given we have quite a high creature count, say 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 11, 12, 13. If we throw in another Gallon Pie Wielder, give us a nice 3-drop there. Throw in an Archon's Glory to enhance our creatures. And then we're playing a pretty aggressive deck with a relatively low curve. Interesting, not exactly what black and white want to do, but something we were definitely capable of doing. Our mana costs are all very straightforward, only double black for Ashiok, so that leaves the splash for the 2 cut-ins worthwhile. And the Spellsworn Coven, and of course the Crude Somniphage as well. And the target player mills 4 cards is not necessarily necessary. This just translates to a good 2-drop later in the game. There will be creature cards in graveyards. The spells deck didn't really get there this game. Now there was a lot of enchantments and things like that, but you're still going to have creature cards in graveyards. So, and so with the Hopeful Vigil here, that means our Regal Bunnycorn is going to be very strong. Shrouded Shepherd's going to help us against aggro. We've got Witch's Vanity and Grapple to do the same thing. So it just kind of, the way it fell, and the way we sort of dance between red and black, we end up with what I think is a very strange deck, but not a deck I think is necessarily bad, but just strange. So you need to pick 1 more card. So you can do Return Triumphant. That hits 3 Shrouded Shepherds, a Gallop High Wielder, 2 Stockbinding Celebrants, and a Regal Bunnycorn. So I think for a slight amount of attrition, I think that's what we will play. But you could easily just play another Archon's Glory. In fact, maybe that's what I should play. I think I will. It's a relatively aggressive deck. There are some draws that'll be slower, but for the most part, it's going to be a fast deck. So we'll try that and see how it plays. So we're going to take 7 Swamps. Move these back over here just so I can see them. 7 Swamps, yep. And we'll take 8 Plains. And that should be 40 out of 40. There we are. Now, as I say, it's a strange deck. But I'm not convinced it won't be good. Because with the Crystal Grotto, a Mountain, and a Prophetic Prism, we have 3 sources for 2 cut-ins, which isn't as tight as I'd like. You would like 1 more. But it also gives us 2 sources for Spellsworn Coven. So I don't want to mess the mana up any tighter than that, because I think you're going to be asking for trouble if I go down to 6 swamps here, especially with needing to have 2 sources of Ashok. Although it's consider, I can consider it, given that Crystal Grotto acts as a one of each. So if we were to cast Ashok on turn 5, we would need, let me see, what is it, 40% of our lands to be swamps. So that's 7. Yeah, I suppose we can go down one. We can go down 1 swamp. Yeah. We'll go down 1 swamp. We'll add 1 mountain, and then our cut-in splash is very safe at that point. And the blue on the spell is going covering, and the blue on the Cruel Somniphage is not necessary to make those cards good. So they're, why would you say, incidentally they could be useful if we have it, but it's not necessary. So that leaves us with plenty of removal. This is an awkward draw, because obviously I cannot play a Cruel Somniphage yet. But I have my Prism. So we'll start with that. Now this could be a problem. Mr. 2-drop, that's nice for us. So ultimately now I think we want to stockpiling Celebrant and bounce the Prism, probably. I would see what he plays here. Still nothing. Oh, well maybe now we just play the Gallant Pie Wheeler. That leaves, if we draw a land, we'll be able to cut in anything. And it blocks the Gingerbrute, unless he wants to pump mana into that, which I'm happy with. So we'll see. So we've taken 3 points of damage off that Gingerbrute. But now we're pretty stable looking. Tuna Veil Guide. Perfect. If we draw a land, I'm just going to cut in that immediately. We did not draw a land, unfortunately. Now, if we stockpiling Celebrant now, we can't cut in next turn. But we can replay it, and if we draw a land, then play Hopeful Vigil. That might be the correct play. Get the card draw off it, and then be able to replay Hopeful Vigil. I think that's what I will do. Now, there's an argument that I should just play Hopeful Vigil and pass, hoping to draw the land next turn, but the stockpiling Celebrant sets up the land draw. I can scry now. So we're going to bottom Shrouding Shepherd, which is... No, we're not going to bottom. We're going to put it underneath. I would be happy enough to draw that. Deals with Gingerbrute. And then no attacks, we'll just hold off. If he wants to pump the mana to get Gingerbrute in, I can understand that. Now, he's playing a Celebration deck. I find it hard to believe that he doesn't have an Edge Wall pack or something to trigger this guide. But right now, him gaining life doesn't really matter. He's the aggressive deck. And we are playing the controlling deck. Merry Bards, that's fine. So that's going to trigger Tuna Veil Guide. Now he's going to have to pay the mana to make Gingerbrute unblockable. Now that's unfortunate because that obviously damages our draw here. Okay, so I think ultimately what we want to do is Ariad's Tempting Apple and then sack Gingerbrute. So we want to wait a little while on that. So for the time being, I think we play a Prophetic Prism, draw a card, and then we play Hopeful Vigil. And we just stand our ground. Now we can get in for 4 damage here, or we can hold the ground. But I'm happy enough to trade off any of these creatures. So I think I'm just going to send the Gallant Pie Wheeler at this stage. Get 4 points of damage in. Now the ultimate goal is to steal and then sack Gingerbrute, which we need 6 mana for. Now this is starting to get close. Again, there's nothing to stop him celebrating again. Nice, Ash, that's a nice one. Start playing Celebrant, excellent. Interesting choice. I'm not sure that I agree with that, but that's an interesting choice. I suppose it means he can trigger Celebration again next turn. But we'll hopefully not have to worry as much about that next turn. Now I do, at this point, I sort of wish that I had left the Ganon Pie Wielder back. So I think we just trade off here and take 6. I think that's fair. We could also trade off with the Gingerbrute. But again, I'm hoping just to be able to steal and sack that, so. He could be holding, okay, there's 5 mana. No. Now we do need to draw the land, of course. But if we can draw the land, next turn it's Tempting Apple, sack Gingerbrute, and then we're in a really strong position. Well, I didn't have much for hope there now. The Archon of the Wild Rose. Nothing to be done there. I had another cut in for it as well. Yeah, so the deck felt clunky. That felt very clunky. And it's possible we don't want the cut-ins. And maybe we should just rely on the Candy Grapple and the Candy Grapple and the Cooped Up. And the Witch's Vanity. Although I do wish now I'd taken the 3 mana Feed the Cauldron. But I think that was a pretty unlucky matchup as well, and we weren't far off stabilizing there. And it took Archon of the Wild Rose to finish us from that position. Strong, you know. So that was a slow draw. There's an argument that I shouldn't have kept it. So I think I give this version of the deck another spin. Yes, this is more like it now. And I'm on the draw, so Witch's Vanity is very strong there. So there's Lead Swamp, into Plains, into Witch's Vanity, get rid of the Rotisserie Elemental. No, we won't get rid of the Rotisserie Elemental, sorry. We'll get rid of the Knight, because Witch's Vanity will, or the Shrouded Shepherd will hit the Rotisserie Elemental. They may choose to sack it, of course. But they can only sack it on +2/+1 till end of turn. That's fine. Oh, he decided he was going to sack it. Interesting. Okay. That was a terrible decision. So it was. And absolutely... Yeah. Sorry. So he essentially sacked it for no reason because he was never going to be able to play anything off it anyway. So the Wicked Roads come in under my turn, so I'm going to be hitting for 6 now. So at this point we just swing in. For 6. Oh, I didn't double strike. I'm an idiot. Okay, that was my fault. That was a poor decision on my behalf. So, yeah, oops on my behalf as well. Just want to see if there's any more 1/1s before I crack off the Shrouded Shepherd. I think I will just sack the food now. Gain the life. So then at least I'm using my mana. Now I could double Shrouded Shepherd this turn and just wipe his board, so that sounds like a smart decision. Thank you, opponent. That just seemed like the sensible thing to do. I mean, if he has 1/1s, I'll be annoyed, of course. But spending 4 mana to kill 2 creatures seems very reasonable to me. So now we have a total of 6 mana available to us, so we can Shrouded Shepherd. Give this +2/+2. And then we can Shrouded Shepherd again. Give this +2/+2. Yeah, and then attack for lethal. So, okay, that was pretty smooth. And I didn't need the cut-ins there at all. So maybe an aggressive black-white deck is actually where I want to be. So I need to think about that. Because I do have the option to rebuild the deck to be just a more aggressive black-white deck. Because if we would take the Mountains out, take the Crystal Grotto out, take the Prophetic Prism out possibly, right? And then just go 9/8. And then we could play another Armory Mice, another Rat out, a couple of Baronaudes. So we're cutting 2 very strong cards and replacing them with less strong cards. Let's try that version of the deck. So let's cut all this. Right. And then cut these 2, right? And then just throw in an Armory Mice, a Return Triumphant, and a Baronaude. And let's see how that plays. Because you're giving up power without the cut-ins, but you're getting more consistency. Right? And we celebrate very well. Well, not very well. We celebrate quite well. So that makes the Armory Mice slightly better. Although it's still not a great card because of what we just saw in my game there, which is there is a lot of X1 hate around. Now I'm going to give it a try, just see how it plays, and if I'm not convinced, I'll go back. We are splashing for 2 very strong cards, so. I'm very hesitant to hit cancel because you'll hit cancel, you'll get out of the game just as you're getting into a game, and then that causes you to lose that game. You know, so I don't like to cancel, even though that looked like it wasn't going to match very quickly. Magic Mike. I go first. See, now I'm glad I have such a much more streamlined deck. I know. I've got the option of turn 4 -1/-1 plus Shrouding Shepherd, or turn 4 -1/-1 Baronaude. It's nice options to have here. And I'm going to lead with Hopeful Vigil, because a 2/2 Vigilance is a nice card to have on turn 2. And that leaves my bargain stuff online. I can just start playing Celebrant later, reuse it. Okay, my opponent's decided not to do anything, so we'll just get in straight away. He could have Kellen's Light Blades, which is target tap creature though, right? Plunge under that, that's fine. I can live with that. So now we can turn to Baronaude and Hope for Vigil and just get another 2/2 back. I'm happy with that. So that's the plan. Just get this, scry 2, lands to the bottom. Ah, nice 4-drop to see us off. Yeah, I like that. get a card out of my opponent's hand. Not worth a whole pile necessarily. My opponent hasn't played much. I just replaced that card, but it's worth something. Oh, opponent may possibly be stuck on lands here. Cooped up. Taking out a 3-2 with yeah, its per opponent is stuck on lands. So, do we hope with Vigil and then Shrouded Shepherd, or do we try and get a land out of my opponent's hand? Or we could hope with Vigil and Armory Mace. It's close. I think choking my opponent resources is probably not the correct play here. Given that he has so many, I don't think that's necessarily the play. So he has to discard because he can't play anything. Yeah, can I say sorry? Oh, no, I can't. Alright. So get a card out of his hand here, and then just get in for 7. And then we'll be able to trigger Armory Mice next turn, and if all goes well, we'll have the Archon's Glory to back it up and just close this game out, but obviously it's a bit of a non-competition here. And this, of course, could be giving me an unfair representation of what my deck is doing. Ah, so he's the blue-white tap deck, so probably even if he had his mana, we had a very strong chance of winning this. Well, that's not a bad one. Yes, we have the 5 mana. So I could -1/-1 to make it a 1/2, and then I can't block anything effectively. Yeah. That's probably what we want to do. -1/-1 to make it a 1/2. Then cast this. Yeah. That's exactly what we want to do. So -1/-1 to make it a 1/2. Then you cast Shrouded Shepherd. So that means that all of my creatures can attack unharassed. That there's nobody's going to die, and he is priced into now blocking because this is exactly lethal, and then I can Archon's Glory whenever he doesn't block to get some extra damage through. That's a lifelink. It may have been worthwhile just Archon's Glorying, using that card to get 9 damage in the air. And then, no, that would have been lethal, right? Yeah, that would have been lethal, so I should have just done that. So that was a poor decision on my behalf. Should have just given the mouse +2/+2 and flying, and that's 9 in the air, and he can only block 1 creature on the ground. So doing this actually gives my opponent an opportunity to claw the game back, although it's very unlikely that's going to happen. But that wasn't how I should have played. It looks like it won't matter because my opponent is going to... my opponent is off it. So why not? I'll keep both of those. So the white-black version of the deck is doing well, but has not actually been challenged in any real meaningful way. Yeah, sure. So it's hard to know there. My opponents just haven't had any luck. I feel like the deck. I feel like it was a miss. You know, there's not any real cohesion in either version of the deck, the red white or the black white version of the deck. Or sorry, the red white or the black white or the black white splash red version. But there is good card quality there. And an abundance of 2-drops, which is extremely important. So probably leaning into the more aggressive version of the deck is better. It is a very medium hand. So it is, but it actually kind of has everything you need though. It's very medium. But I've got all my lands, I've got 2 and a 3, I've got some removal, I've got something slightly attrition-y. So I don't know. Emberth Veteran. Oh, okay, fine. So that's nice. We can just Shrouding Shepherd. Hopefully he plays another Exxon. And even better if he has to pay full price for it. If he plays Ratcatcher Trainee now, like, and I just Shrouding Shepherd the 2-for-1, it's gonna be horrible. If he doesn't play another creature, I will probably just still cast Shrouding Shepherd on the 2-1. It's a nice exchange for me. Although he can sack it in response, causing the thing to fizzle, but he doesn't necessarily know that. Oh my god. It's just like we wrote it up, boys. Alright, there you go. So that's just a clean 2-for-1. And now my opponent has no options. So I believe we just start playing Celebrant. Just play a 3-drop. You know, it's better if you can combo it with stuff. But I'm just going to use my mana, play my creature. You know. Next turn we get the spell Scorn Coven. So he gets the Candy Grapple. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Instrasta. Fine. So now we're just going to drain him of resources with the spell Scorn Coven here. Lord Skitter's Butcher? Oh, okay. It's nice to get that out of his hand. But then what's in his hand if he's keeping that? Got it cooped up, so that'll help me deal with anything too nasty here. Looks like he's got another Candy Grapple, or perhaps a torture. Yeah, he got another Candy Grapple, okay. But again, I got my value out of that, got the card out of his hand, so again, I'm up on resources the whole way through. So now I got 5 mana. So I think at this point, we want to go... maybe we want to go Armory Mace. And then we can return triumphant next turn, we'll trigger Celebration. So there's an argument that we just cast this, or we can just coop up this thing. That's a difficult choice, actually. No, I think we just return Triumphant here. Get the Celebrant back, get the Young Hero roll, making it into a 4/3 next turn. And then we'll end our turn here, because next time we can Shrouded Shepherd cooped up and Archon's Glory to get in a really big hit. Hopefully he drops a 4th land so that I can have a decent target for cooped up here. So I was arguing whether I should Celebrate, or if I should return Triumphant that turn, or save it for next turn. To get the Celebration off for the mice, but it probably won't matter. If he has more removal, we're going to get into a slippy situation here. Lord Skitter, Sewer King. Oh, perfect. That's a good card for no doubt. Can't block though. Oh well, now we're very glad we cast this. We cast Return Triumphant. So he gets to take my Spells One Coven. That's pretty good. Let me use my mana here. So create the 2/1/1s, attack with the Armory Mace, and then leave the Stockpine Sabrina or just one of the 1/1s back. Don't do that. You didn't read my card. You didn't read my card! What? Oh, I've been in combat in your turn, of course. I'm an idiot. I didn't read my card. Interesting. So we're going to enchant this, and then we're going to Hopeful Vigil. So that's going to trigger Celebration. And then we're just going to go move to combat now. That should increase both my creatures, yeah. Make them 2/2s, right? Then we're going to leave a single 2/2 back to eat one of the rats. I'm going to send everybody else in. And then we can Archon's Glory if necessary. And we're going to bargain as well, just to get the lifelink. Alright, bargain this, just to get the lifelink and the scry. So we're going to, let me see. We don't want either of these. And then we've got more card draw of Ashok next turn, so. So now you've got a bunch of 1/1s that can't kill Ashok. You might be able to pump it, but at this point the damage is done. I have 11 power. Wicked roll. Even then, I can just trade it for the 2/2, which is something I might do. Just to protect Ashok. So the reason oh, and a haste. That's still not lethal though. It might be worth my while just letting Ashok go though, because he can't attack, right? Because he only has one creature that can block. And in fact, he's just dead now, so I might just let him have them. He only has one blocker, so he's just dead, so there's no blocks. So we just Shrouded Shepherd. Give this guy +2/+2. Send everybody. And we win. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Ashok coming in clutch that game. So, again, it follows a pretty standard Planeswalker pattern of just -1 or minus ability, get a couple of creatures, then plus for advantage that actually grows your creatures. And so, I mean, that's why we picked her. That's why we went into black and stayed in black. And of course we didn't see too much black in the first pack, but we saw enough that I was hopeful we might get some more black in the third pack. In the end, we didn't, of course. So I go first. I have a Shrouded Shepherd and a Rat out, so I guess I keep, but this is risky. I'm also on the draw, or I'm also on the play, sorry, so I'm not going to see a card. This is where having 9 planes is very good, but I think we mull here. And we ended up with a significantly worse hand. Alright, excellent. So I guess we keep 6. And we bottom a swamp. Oh, because we needed planes, or else we're bodied. So this is a worse hand. Well, it's not significantly worse. It is, however, worse. I think it was I don't like 2 landers on the play regardless. And then the fact that I needed to draw not a land, but specifically a plains. Wasn't too happy with that. Now the Witch's Vanity, we're obviously not going to play that just yet. But this has worked out relatively well. So we'll just pass on this. He has Rat out, I would think. Not a card I'm particularly scared about, but being able to stockpiling Celebrant the Witch's Vanity is quite nice. Arguably, we could also just Shrouded Shepherd and Hopeful Vigil here and get way ahead. He could have a counter spell. At which point we should play our land. I'm just going to check here quickly what Spell Stutter is. Is it pay 1 or pay 2? Because he probably has Spell Stutter here. He could have Spell Stutter. Plays additional 2. Okay, so maybe like just to be safe, let's just play a Hopeful Vigil into this. Yeah, he could have it, you see. So we're playing around a possible counter spell here. And then we'll just pass the turn. So we're not going to get the bounce, which is Vandy. It's a shame, but if there's any creatures, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It might have Quick Study here as well. No? Okay. So we're playing around Spell Stutter here at the moment. We get a Wicked Roll on the 2/2, so that's not so bad. Monstrosity. Okay, he's tapped out his blue, so he doesn't have Spell Stutter, so we play around that for no real reason. Which is a shame. Now, even if he rat outs, I'm still a 3/3. So I would go down to a 2/2 and we'll still trade for the Monstrosity. So I think that's probably our best bet. So I will offer the trade here. Because a rat out still means we trade. Okay, I'm content with that. And I think I'm content to just play the Gallon Pie Reader here. I don't know what he has for 1 black that's going to be difficult to deal with here. But hopefully we can get off Stockpiling Celebrant into Hopeful Vigil next turn, making the Gallon Pie Wielder a double striker and letting me attack into his Besotted Knight. Sort of a strange exchange of cards. Yeah, okay. We can still get the celebration just by going Hopeful Vigil into Cruel Somnophage, and I think at this point the Cruel Somnophage is a 2/2. Am I correct in saying that? I am. Now he'll trade for the Besotted Knight. That's probably worthwhile actually. So I think I'll go for the attack. And he can trade for the Besotted Knight. Because I'm not going to be able to reliably do that. That's fine. And now we'll just drop the Somnophage, and it's now a 4/4. So that was worthwhile. Spent all my mana. Traded 1-for-1 with his creature, although he got a road token out of his, to be fair. But that didn't really change our Return Triumphant. Nice. But now we have a good target for the Shrouded Shepherd. Again, I have the money to pay. He doesn't have any fairies, so if he did have the spell story, I have the money to pay for it. Although I don't think he does. He was gaining the life. Excellent. I think here we'll just cast it while it's still here. Getting for 8 damage. Thank you. Okay, we've got another Hope of Vision and another Stockpile Celebrant. So all we need is a bloody land. And then we're in good shape. Spellbook Vendor, nice. Excellent, so he's 3/3. Now, if he has Rat out, how badly do we care? He's still going to trade. So I think we still send. He has Rat out, it's possibly has it. Yeah, he might do. We should still trade. So that is a really good trade for me. He must have another copy of Return Triumphant. So we'll go Stockpiling Celebrant now, trying to hit a land here for next turn. So we want to see. Oh, Ariad's tempting Apple. Huh. We're sitting at 6 already. Steal something useful. That's a difficult one. I'm gonna go for Ariad's. No, let's add more to the no. Let's add more to the board, and then we'll do the apple. Because right now we're getting in for 7 regardless, and I don't mind adding more to the board, then playing the apple, stealing. Besotted Knight, yeah, okay, see that's not so bad. Do I want to trade here? Then I'll have 2, 4, 6, 8, 11 damage plus the apple. Yeah, I think I'll trade here. Because now if he drops in even a bigger thing, exactly, now I can just steal it. Is that lethal as well? That's a 6, 9. Yeah, it's lethal. No blocks. And that is lethal as far as I'm aware. Oh, it was one short. Oh dear. Oh, he conceded anyway. Why did I think that was lethal? What was I missing? Well, he conceded anyway. He seemed rather upset. But that's what you get for playing Esper. So. I think the slightly faster black-white deck is better. Just consistency-wise. So we're sitting 4-1 now, so it's a fine result. I think here you can really see the effect of playing at the lower ranks, right? A lot of my opponent's decks just haven't done anything and just haven't had good cards or good composition. What is a mediocre deck, from my perspective, is doing very well. Simply because my opponents aren't putting up much of a resistance. So I kept that hand because I had a playable 2-drop and some removal. Yeah. So here I'm considering Return of No Wilds. Is this the problem with the mouse? The mice, I should say. This is the problem with this is a really nice way to just blank my card. So I could cooped up and borrow Naughty. That's hardly worth my time. No, I can't do that, sir. So, what do I do here? I guess I'll start playing Sediment, return the mice to my hand. It's really not the best play, but the scry is nice. I'm not attacking anyway. I guess Tempting Apple. I wouldn't mind having that for later in the game, to be honest. Next turn, I'm going to play 4 anyway, so I don't want the land. Yeah, I want that for later in the game, I think. Because I can area Tempting Apple and Candy Grapple. His token, if I want it. I'm not sure that was an ideal series of events, but... He could have Royal Treatment. It's highly unlikely, though. He could have Leaping Ambush as well. That's why I played, sorry, I didn't explain that. That's why I played the Cooped Up instead of the Candy Grapple, because he could have Leaping Ambush. I could still have Leaping Ambush. That's actually good for me, because then I can Candy Grapple his 1-1 and get a kind of a 2-for-1. If he throws a 1-1 in front, I'm going to assume it's Leaping Ambush. Now, if he has Royal Treatment. That fizzles the whole thing, yeah. Yeah, I was hoping that would fizzle the whole thing so we didn't get to draw the card off it. Yeah. But I'm not overly happy with that. I mean, I priced myself into it. I wasn't expecting Break the Spell. Jeez. We could be in a little bit of trouble here. Okay, that's a good card there. That's also a good card. Okay, I feel like we've lost this one. Bar Naughty's not the worst. I guess you trade here. Trade here. Get these guys in the graveyard. Makes my Samlophage much better. This makes my summon phase slightly worse. But now we're in reasonable space. So we're hoping ultimately to steal the creature that gets the counters on it. And we have enough to... this is Ward 1, yeah. We have enough to steal that. Now the Sweet's Revenge. Okay, yeah, this is going to be interesting. But I can steal the creature that gets the counters. That's nice. That's only 4. That's only +2/+2 to the end of turn. So, not the worst. No, we can't... I think we have to pass here, unfortunately. This is pretty close now. Okay, excellent. We get to steal that. That's good. We got a 1/3 back. That's nice. He's short on mana. He can technically sack that, yeah, but you're going to sack 2. Oh, no, you're going to tap 2 if you get it. So that's, what's that? 14, 19. So you just chump the 8 and take 9, right? Or 11, sorry. 11, take 11. That's 14, right? Then sack that to deal 3, yeah. He doesn't have the mana. Oof. Now that was close. Oh, that was close. I was checking the math there quickly again. I probably didn't talk myself through that perfectly, but I was checking the math quickly to see if I could lethal him in any way, or if I could get a big hit in and gain 3 life and chump 1 thing, or even just trade for 1 thing. And in the end, then I realized, of course, that with the extra point of power from the young hero role, I was going to be able to lethal him. So that all worked out very well, I have to say. And you know, that was a much better deck than mine. I'm pretty content. I can go Hope of Vigil, then Hope of Vigil, and then hold on to the Shroud Shepherd. If I can draw a Swamp, I'd be very happy. Well, now that I've got a second one, not as keen to hold on to my first Shepherd. I would certainly play the first one out. Groundhog Guest, nice card, nice card. So I got 2/2 with Vigilance, he's a 2/2 that come with 3/3. I have Shroud Shepherd, should really do well against these red-white decks. There should be a lot of X1s floating around, especially if he's trying to celebrate. Okay, so we're taking 3 here. No blocks. Let's see what we draw. Borrow Naughty. It's not a bad draw for me. Would I rather have a 2/2 or a 1/3? 1/3 blocks both of these cards if nothing else happens. Yeah, I'll play the 1/3 for now. I could also play the Hope Vigil and then double block the Grand Ball, yes, but then that leaves me just, I get absolutely destroyed. Here. Now, do I attack? I mean, I suppose I should have thought of that before I played the Baronade. Yeah, normally I would. Is the trade good for me? I suppose it is good for me. In the sense that I want to keep his creature count as low as possible. Okay, and I have a lot of stuff to back it up with. Now, here's where you'd see the Edgewall Pack. Really nice card to play here. Stockpiling Celebrant. That's not great. He may have something. No, is there anything for 1 red that he can flash in? Dragon Mantle he can play. He can't flash it in though. He might have it though. There we go. Okay, the Regal Bunnycorn I'm going to hold on to for now. Or perhaps not. No, perhaps not. Because I will have 5 non-land permanents by the time I play the Regal Bunnycorn. I have Hope for Vigil, Baronade, a 2/2, and then this will make the Regal Bunnycorn a 5/5, which sort of just stomps on whatever he's doing. So he may have Torch the Tower, but he can't bargain it, so he can only do 2 damage. Which means that my Regal Bunnycorn will still be very strong regardless. Even if he kills one of my creatures in response, it's still a very strong card. There we are. And now this really shuts down what he's trying to do. And it emphasizes the importance of having strong cards. Do I want to send my 1/3 in for damage? Do I want to send my 1/3 in for damage? Again, should have thought of this earlier. No, I don't. Not just yet. Now, if I could get it, if I can draw a swamp and get him to dump his hand here. Okay, so we're in good position. Now, if I can just draw a swamp here, I can wipe his board. And leave him just with a Skewer Slinger. Five, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I can attack with the Bunnycorn. And if I do that, I don't want to sack anything to Candy Grapple, you see? Because I want to keep my permanents as high as possible. So I could try to Shepherd, and that would make the Regal Bunnycorn a 6/6, right? And then I can attack in, and if he puts 6 points of power in front of it, I can Candy Grapple. I think that's probably the best play. So I'm going to actually spread this across, put it on Baronade. Now, if I remove one of his blockers, yeah, there's no way he can kill me if I go like this. So I'm going to go here and get in. And if he tries to triple block the Regal Bunnycorn, I'll blow him out. Or he could try and quadruple block the Regal Bunnycorn. I can blow him out. Yeah, this is what I was hoping for. Deals 1 damage to that creature, which means that I have to now kill the Stockpiling Celebrant. And that's game at this point, I would think. It's going to be very hard to come back from that. An aggressive block by my opponent, but I suppose he might have been priced into it. But then you don't know if he had cooped up. Let's see if they're sleeping. Okay, that's not great. Because now my Somniphage is actually worth a little bit. Now he's worth, yeah, 2/2. So he's actually worth something. Yeah, that's fine. No blocks. So if I -1/-1 it, and then just cast the Shepherd, That puts me in a very strong position to win. Because I can attack for 4 more points of damage. So I'm going to probably -1/-1 the Savior of the Sleeping to make it a 1/2 so that all my creatures can attack profitably. Then buff the Naughty again and just get in. And then next turn I can play the Salmon-Phage. So that's what I'm going to do. So now he's taken 14 damage, right? I'm just going to eat it all, yeah. Okay, fair. And now he's in a really precarious position. He can board white with Expel the Interlopers, but he needs to land for that. Cooped up, yeah, there we are. So we got our value out of that. But cheeky house mouse, yeah. I would not attack if I was you, but he may. Now, if I draw land, I think I can just win in the air, correct? Bar Naughty is 3, isn't it? I can just win the air, stockpile Celebrant, yeah. So I can bounce the Shroud Shepherd, buff the Bar Naughty, and then win from there. Radite should be fine here, yeah. It shouldn't matter, this should win me the game outright. He might have Torch the Tower, which would be pretty painful actually. So let's spread that around. I'm going to be attacking with 3 creatures and he has 3 blockers. We'll go for the win here. I don't believe he has Torch Tower, he's not playing like it. He would have cast in response there. And just send my 3/5 to the skies. And hopefully that should be lethal, yeah. Okay, yeah. Torch Tower would have been bad there, but it didn't feel like he had it at any point. That I could tell. He would have cast it before then, you see. So deck's doing well. One Unicorn carried us that game. And Ashiok's carried us games before, like I said. The importance of having some strong cards in your colors, it's pulls you up an awful lot. You know, this I was gonna just check the deck list again, but no, we'll finish off. Hopefully we can get the 7 wins here. Okay, so we go first. No 2-drops. Do I mull? I have a lot of 2-drops in my deck. I have a, what do you call it? I have the untapped GG overlay here, so I'm just going to check how many 2-drops I have. So I have a 12% chance, a 15% chance, 24% chance, 27. I have a 27% chance to draw a relevant play. I think I'm going to keep. It's slightly risky, but if this hand becomes extremely strong, if I draw a 2-drop, and I have a 1 in 4 odds of drawing it, it's not terrible. 1/1 flyer doesn't frighten me, especially now with all the. I guess we'll just pass. I did draw a 2-drop, but I didn't draw one that affects the board, unfortunately. I'll just throw a Gallop High Wheel right there. He probably has Spell Storm. No, he doesn't. Okay, nice. I don't want to Candy Grab at a 1/1 flyer. It's not worth my time. That's why I didn't cast that. It's just not worth it. So I can stockpile Celebrant the Gallon Pie Wielder back to my hand, scry 2, which I think is what I'm going to do, just to reset it. Well, I should attack for 1 first, though. Archon's Glory, do I think that's going to be useful? Yeah, I do. I do. We one mana trick's always useful. I'll play the Coven next turn. Opponent seems to be stuck on lands again. I've been lucky in that regard. So let's see what my opponent discards. Now he's got 2 good plays for later in the game. So I need to keep Candy Grapple for the Vantage Transmuter. No, I need to keep Candy Grapple for Balloonist Gatekeeper if the game goes that long. Return Triumphant is probably not going to be very useful in this matchup unless I can orchestrate some trades. Okay, Sweet Tooth Witch. Okay, so we know he's playing black. So if we don't see a black this turn, our opponent's in a lot of trouble. Now I'm just going to attack all in here. And then just drop a Gallant Pie Wheeler. And then my turn. Yeah, opponent seems to be stuck on it. Poor guy. I've had a lot of opponents with this luck today. I play base 4 cards. Yeah, that's fine. And there's some good cards, to be fair. Cooped up, that's an excellent thing to see. So we're going to turn Triumphant or Shrouded Shepherd to get a buff. That will trigger Celebration, which will buff our Gallant Pie Wheeler, which we might be able to then Archon's Glory for pretty much close to the win, I should think. Because he's going to be a 4/4. Now, if I Archon's Glory, he will be, I'll deal 12 points of damage plus 2 as support. Oh, well, I guess I didn't have to think about that. So him milling me actively made my Return Triumphant useful. So the plan here was 4/4, perhaps Archon's Glory, maybe even sacking this just to get the lifelink, so it would never be a question. But probably not. So it would be a 6/6 double strike that deals, so deal 12, and then 2 to deal 14 damage, and leave it pretty damn near impossible. But again, not much my opponent could have done, given that he didn't, or she didn't, draw more than 2 lands. Even if they'd just drawn a plains and an island and a swamp, they would have been in a better position. So I tried my best to be a bit more vocal about what I was doing in that game. I hope it worked. The deck performed very well, but again, lower ranks, so we have to settle down a little bit. But just the Regal Bunnycorn and Ashok were excellent in the games I drew them. Spell Scorn Covering is another really good card that I like it a lot. A 2/3, your opponent discards a card for 4 is just solid. And then the Shepherds were excellent all game long. That +2/+2 coming in handy a lot of the time. That -1/-1 coming in handy a lot of the time. The Hope of Vigils were also excellent. You got a very strong white deck here, you take out the Pie Wielder and the Armory Mice, and these are all cards you would play in a white deck, and they're all top cards in a white deck. So yeah, we didn't have as much removal as I would have liked, and that's why I was playing the red initially. But I think being more consistent was worth it. I don't think if we had slightly better fixing that costs less, like not having to play 2 actual mountains in the deck, I think the cut-ins would be auto includes. The Apple was also excellent. Won me 2 games, I think. So I'm glad I decided to try that. And yes, we picked the Moonshaker Cavalry out of interest, but I'm kind of hoping that we might get some kind of deck that could play it. I wasn't sure what that deck even looked like. That I shouldn't have picked that. I really shouldn't have. It was a wasted pick, and it was always going to be. And like, there's an argument this deck could have gone either way. It could have easily been red as well. And in fact, 2 Hard Spear Guards, a Flick a Coin, a Crescendo. Probably a Twisted Fealty, actually. Don't bother playing the Crescendo. Play the Apple. Play the cut-ins, the Edgewall pack, and then, cut the Armory Mice and all the black cards, and you're flying. So I think there was 2 good versions of the deck, but I leaned a little heavier on having higher quality cards here. And that worked out as well. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed. And I will see you in the next episode.